G'day everybody, Wes Zant here from the Down Under Centre. I've got the pleasure of interviewing Peter from Joy. So Peter, firstly, thank you very much for taking the time. I know you guys are quite busy down in Queensland, or you're based in Queensland. You're very busy at the moment, hence the reason for reaching out to us. And it was quite interesting. So prior to this recording, you've got quite a lot of clients that you're actually sponsoring at the moment, which is fantastic. And for the Down Under Centre clients that are listening to this is Peter, the guy who's one of the guys you'll be working with and for. So Peter, let's crack on, mate. Tell us a little about what about your company, what you do, etc., please.
Yeah, I wish that was easy to describe it. Hey to everyone. So Joy is actually a charity, which is a bit unique, but we're a charity that self-funds. So we've got a bunch of board of 6 or 7 volunteers that are my bosses basically, and keep us all on straight and narrow. But our passion is about creating opportunity and employment for people with a bit disadvantaged. So to do that, we don't really hand out for grants from government. We've actually set about to create our own funds and to create our own opportunities. So to do that, we've got a lot of trades working in the construction industry, mainly in the residential, but down in Victoria. I was going to say sunny Victoria, but maybe not.
Hey mate, we've got sun outside today. It's 23. What is it? The 8th of the 4th, 2022. It's sunny. Tomorrow is going to be a hot 25. Beautiful skies, mate. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And you did that all with a smiling, straight face. Well done. So down in Victoria, we do a bit more commercial work. Some of the recladding on the large towers and accommodation. But in Queensland, it's mainly focused around new homes and residential homes. But that is not quite what we are. We've also run a labour hire division, which has put staff into a range of business. We've got an ethical offshoring in the Philippines with about 75 staff. And we're also just starting out in a solar panel recycling facility as well. So we do a range of different things.
Where's that one, Peter? Where's that one?
That's in Queensland as well.
Queensland, yeah.
There could be a few of those up the coast of Queensland. So, and potentially in Adelaide as well. So we've got a range of things we're doing, but really the heart of everything we do is to create opportunity, to raise our own funds, and then run a training program to get people that have never really worked before. And we try and teach them the 3 C's, which is consistency, communication, and compliance. So very simple, but that's the heart and soul of our program, is to get people into long-term careers. And so anyone that works for Joy is basically contributing one way or another to doing that.
No, that's good, mate. I love it. I really do. And congratulations. You're quite well known in Australia. So it's, must be a fantastic feeling, quite fulfilled to be a part of something that's really growing some legs. And I guess today it's really about the shortage, isn't it? So you've got all these projects that you're building, not just in Queensland, but in other areas. You've got, you're branching out. But the biggest issue for everyone at the moment is labour hire, not so much labour hire, but getting labour into Australia. The pandemic's really slowing things down. Obviously, we've had floods and, the usual floods and fires and everything that we get in Australia and everything like that, which hasn't helped. But what occupations are you currently looking for?
So we've got a range. For our internal operation, it's mainly around the residential home buildings. So carpenters, bricklayers, tilers, roof plumbers. If you're a roof plumber, give me a call now.
Yeah. Now, roof plumbing's a bit interesting. So we're not talking about your slate tiles and all that from people in the UK that are listening. It's colour bond, it's metal fascias, gutters, streamline, flat deck, fascias. I said fascias already, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Valleys and all that, cutting into your valleys. It's a good job, and it's actually. Would you say most houses in Australia now are moving more to sort of your colour bond metal roofs, especially in Queensland?
Yeah, it used to be the premium product was tiles, but now there actually is basically colour bond is the preferred. I think it's just easier for the solar panels and all those things, and the look and the life of it. So you basically, I think, have to pay more to get colour bond than tiles now. It's the preferred option. So, keen to hear anyone in that trade. But site supervisors, painters, those sort of trades, anyone in those sort of things, we can either place them internally or have got a number of clients or subbies that we could place them with. And then through our labour hire, we're looking for anywhere from, drafties, estimators, electronic assemblers to I'm chasing 20-odd cabinet makers at the moment. Got a client really keen to put them right across the east coast of Australia. So, we basically have people coming to us with different demands all the time. And as we grow the partnership with Down Under Centre, I'm sure that will only continue.
Yeah, well, looking forward to it, mate. It's good. I mean, at the end of the day, look, we've got English-speaking skilled migrants, and we spoke about the fires, and you're trying to bag out the Melbourne weather. For the people listening, there's always been a rivalry, mate, between the handsome Victorians and all that versus the guys further up north of Australia. But look where we live. It's a beautiful country. It's got plenty of opportunity. It's it's a wonderful part of the world, and I think, Peter, I really get you. I love the emotion. I don't like the emotional side on a negative way of migration, but so many people want to get to Australia. Unfortunately, there's visa options, and they may not have an occupation on the skilled list. They may not be able to, complete a skills assessment. But by offering sponsored visas in other areas, I think together, we can sort of really help those people get those dreams, and at the end of the day, get more people working for Joy. So, speaking about that, how many people do you currently have part of your team, would you say?
I think it's around 120, maybe up to 150 at the moment. Haven't talked to HR lately about that, but yeah, around 120 plus we've got in our team.
Perfect. I'm going to ask you a question here, and you're probably not going to be able to because you've got so many things. But what's the average salary, mate?
Basically, our principle is we want to pay people the best we can based on what the clients pay us, and because we're a charity, we're obviously any money we make goes to help people, but we don't want to screw over any of our staff to help someone else. We want staff to be in the best paid positions that they can be. And sometimes we've dug a bit of a hole for ourselves by paying staff too much, and the productivity hasn't been there, and it gets pretty tight in some trades. So we ask for a win-win situation, but if we win, we're going to give back. So basically what we've done with the Down Under Centre is just create a description for every trade. Every trade doesn't pay the same based on supply and demand. We just detail there what it can be. And obviously, if you're a proven worker and once you're over here, then there's scope from that. That's really our base level that we put forward in a detailed position description.
Well, look, saying that, and obviously it's hard to talk about, your company and the company that you represent, but what Peter's getting at there, guys. So what happens is we give Peter an employer questionnaire to fill in. So Peter hits us up and says he needs 15 carpenters. He's going to sponsor them. It might be roof plumbers, tilers, etc. So we'll then advertise them out. So if you're a current client of the Down Under Centre and you've already got your visa and everything like that, perfect, mate. Come and join a great team. There's no cost to Peter. We don't charge any recruitment fees or anything like that. We generally just want you to be working for someone. If you can arrive and get a job before you get here, we all know the benefits of that. For the migrants, Peter, like being able to work out where you live in, it means you can work out where you're going to put the kids in school, where you're going to start renting or where you're going to buy. They might have, friends around and everything, which is good. So do keep an email out for when we do post Peter's jobs out, and they'll actually break down what he's got. Now, this isn't a question, maybe it is on here, maybe it's not, but Peter, you guys are offering a bit of an incentive as well for migrants, which I think we should talk a little bit about. So what is that incentive? If you interview somebody, they're successful, what's an incentive to come and join your team?
Yeah, we're sort of putting up some some cash to try and help with all those costs associated with that, and we've put a package together that includes a range of help. We've got spare vehicles that they can hire, cheap. They can spend that money however they like on flights or even paying for the training visa, whatever it needs. And
what is that amount, Peter?
Generally, depending on the trade, but it's between $6,000 and $10,000. So we would put that up. Yeah. So just to help get you here, get you productive, get you, take the hassle and stress out of it, and get you in as part of our team. So we absolutely love it. Yeah, keen for that to happen. And basically the roles, they're slightly different, but in a residential area, you can be earning, you know, from 80 to 120,000 if you're willing to have a bit of a go in our sort of market as a tradie. So, which is quite a lot different than it was even 2 or 3 years ago. It's pretty
well paid, Peter. That's
yeah, it's well paid and it's in demand and well above the average Australian wage at the moment.
Yep. Might have to go and you're not looking for guys with ginger beers who basically spend all the time telling people how to migrate. I'm not any value to you, am I, mate? Could do with a pay rise, I think.
If you want to look at your screen, what's on it is not what we're after.
There you go. There you go. All right. So we'll end this video now, I think. But no, perfect. Okay. So money obviously will depend on the job role. You're putting a little bit of a bonus and incentive to help people get their end goal, which is fantastic. I guess skills and experience is probably going to be a similar answer. It's going to depend on the occupation and everything. Obviously, if they've completed a skills assessment with us and they're a trade, generally speaking, unless they're a licensed trade, they're going to arrive with their full Australian qualification, which helps being if they're in Queensland, going through QBCC and getting registration. Is there anything else you look for? Like you mentioned project managers and stuff. Do you prefer them to have an Australian, project management qualification or does it matter? Can you accept the UK one?
I suppose we're big enough to be offering a range of roles. So if you're a newish carpenter but can still pass your requirements and the government's requirements, that's fine. You can work with other carpenters, or if you're a experienced lead carpenter, then we can create a team around you. So there's a whole range of different things. There was a guy on holidays that's coming over. He signed up and he's keen to build in bricklaying team, and he wants to grow that to 50, and he might be just the man to do that under his leadership. So it could be a range of working with us for a while and then going out with one of our clients as a site supervisor or manager or a range of different things. Just really depends on your initiative and how much you're willing to put in. But yeah, it's very more individual specific than job specifics. What you want to put in, you'll get out.
Excellent.
It's a land of opportunity.
It is, and it's quite a big land. Queensland's a fair bit of Australia, mate. You're sort of hogging it. Maybe only go Victoria a little bit. Anyway, okay. So what is the lifestyle like, mate? For where you are, the jobs you're offering. So, I guess because you are Australian, correct? You've been in Australia, always lived and worked in Australia, always Queensland, or have you travelled around?
No, I actually grew up in Tasmania, which is that little island off the bottom of Australia.
Yep.
And then I moved to South Australia for a dozen years and then only arrived in Queensland three years ago. So I actually thought I'd be on one of those beaches like on Home and Away, but not quite, or not. Yeah. I don't earn that sort of money. So, but on a Saturday morning, we would wake up, I would jump on my bike, go for a couple of hours ride, then we'd jump in the car with the dog and wander along one of the beaches on the Gold Coast, have a coffee there, and it's just lovely. Like, it's a great lifestyle.
It's fresh air, isn't it? I think
it's fresh air, and if you go into this Brisbane city, lots of culture and wining and dining, all those sort of things. But there's lots of things for the kids to do. It's a great lifestyle, and I mean, one of our staff members got their daughter a hover bike, hover thing, and on a Sunday afternoon she jumped on it, cracked her head open. Helicopter picked her up, took her to the hospital on a Sunday afternoon, neurosurgeon, operated. We live in a country with everything from, the beaches and everything, but all the things that keep you safe and cared for as well. So
is she going all right now, mate?
Yeah, she's all good, but that's the sort when I heard that, I thought, wow, I live in a lucky country that can provide that on a Sunday afternoon. Someone that's there to help.
It is good.
It is a lucky country, and we do take it for granted. Whether that's Tasmania, South Australia, or the Sunshine State in Queensland, it's all pretty good. But yeah, the lifestyle is really what you make it, but it's got every opportunity. And obviously the housing and ranges from, affordable to ultra expensive, whatever your taste is.
Yeah, we've had lots of migrants that, like, there's like a big group of them about 3-4 years ago, and they were bought in Queensland, and now they're selling houses, and they've actually made quite a lot of money on it with the housing boom. But I'm just going to hog a bit of the airtime here. So my oldest son, Jet, turns 6 tomorrow. So we wake up and there's a beautiful park in Sorrento, and it's just the boys call it the Wooden Park. I don't know the exact name, but it's like a jungle, mate, like a castle, whatever you want to call it, of timber. And the background is the ocean. And so tomorrow, about 16 of his little buddies from prep all go down there. The barbecues and all that are set up. We just got to get there early, put his little, happy birthday, put a few sausages, hamburgers on, a few of the beers for the adults, and kick the footy. And that's his birthday. And then we, come back to our house with with my aunties and uncles and everything. And he has another little birthday. And it's very different to how, like in the UK for his last birthday, it was very different. So he's so excited. And that's just a thing that we just do, like they do. Where was Jackson yesterday? The Florida, he was doing, what's it called? Oh, now I'm going to forget. Something kinder. They're out in the bush kinder, they call it.
Oh, okay.
They're not in kinder for the day. They're out in the bush, mate. They're 4 and they're running around like just learning about Australia. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like he's all had his big hat on, and my wife put zinc on his face because he's a ginger like me. And anyway, it was beautiful. So the lifestyle obviously is something. Mate, any latest projects that you got going on at the moment?
Well, the style is pretty new for us, but that's we're getting into that, and that's more around our charitable pathways but from a construction point of view, just lots of, like, the estates are amazing. Like if you drive past them, there's hundreds and hundreds of vacant blocks being created, and we just go in there with our teams and building house after house. And we had one of our clients like literally begging us through the phone for more trades yesterday, just saying, please send us carpenters. And I said, there's a guy that's got 10 of them waiting for us and holding up the visas. Like it's just crazy. We've got lots of work on. There's lots happening with Olympics are now 10 years away in Brisbane. Wow. Everything's ramping up. So it's we are tinkering with a few ideas around a little bit more commercial work to give staff even more opportunities and higher pay. But basically, we're just doing a lot of residential builds, building beautiful homes for people to live in.
So someone's going to come and work for you, Peter. Obviously, there's a potential to earn like overtime and everything like that. But let's say someone's come over there, busted their worked very hard. I can't swear on these things. Worked very hard to get where they are, moving to Australia. They just want to do like a normal week's work. So what would that look like? What would a normal working week hours-wise look like for Joy?
Yeah, so basically with the government restrictions and stuff, you pretty well can't start too early. So I think the guy's 6:30 or 7 in the morning. So if you start at 7, you work for a 7.6 hour day and you knock off at 3:06, I think is the time. Wow. Some work back, another hour and a half to earn, time and a half. So that all the awards say that if you work longer, you get paid 150% the normal rates and those sort of things. So basically, the standard week in Australia is 38-hour week, 4 weeks annual leave, 11 or 12 public holidays, 10 sick days, which we prefer you don't take, but they're there as an insurance policy if you need them. And then, most trades can earn sort of like up to 10 hours a week extra overtime, which, is basically another 15 hours pay. Can be worth about 20 grand a year. And then there's
Peter, just quickly, do you guys get, like, I've noticed here that Victoria love a public holiday. They love one, mate. Like, do you get like, if Melbourne Cups and all that on, do you get in Queensland, do you get that off as well? And like Cup weekend and all that too?
Basically, they don't all line up, which is part of living in Australia. But if you're on the Melbourne Cup, then we get the show day or some extra.
All right.
Someone's had a birthday or, Labor Day.
The Queen is living a birthday.
I don't think any of us really know why we're having the day off. We just take it off.
They love it, mate. A couple of the staff were the other day said, we got some public holiday, and I didn't know. And then they were quick to tell me that we got Easter coming up. So we got Friday and then the Monday off. Yeah. But they said it could be culture to let, if someone's going camping, they're trying to tell me that they can also take the Tuesday off. I don't know if that's it. I don't know if I'm being tricked here, mate, or
You
whatever. But
hoodwinked there, but that was an old bank tradition, apparently.
there you go. There you go. Well,
yeah, and that does flow on. Some people do try that, but
yeah. Well, I think I've given it to them, which would be interesting. But okay, mate. Vehicles, uniforms for workers. Do you supply that? Do they rock up with it? Are you expecting them to rock up with their full tools? Can they get away with some tools? How does it work, mate?
Yeah. So basically, it's a bit varied. So generally, most trades would have uniform and all the PPE. We've got, in each position description, we've got lists of tools you need at different stages, from a first year apprentice through to a lead carpenter, or a lead on a site. Mostly you get paid a bit extra and you pay to provide your own tools. Some trades, we supply all the tools. It's really, it's a bit different from each one. We do loans for tools. We like people to have the best tools up front, so we will actually fork it out and give them a loan. Instead of paying them a tool allowance like $30 a week, we'll actually give them $5,000 up front, and then they pay us that back over the tool allowance. We want it to be win-win, and so yeah, it's different, but generally, in Australia, there's a lot of things called awards, and they set the minimum standard. So we're not into screwing people over, but if we were, you can't go below that anyway. It's just this is what you do get provided by law, but most employers like us add a lot more on top of that, just to because you've got to keep staff. And with a sponsored visa, there's a few-year commitment. That's not what we're about either. We actually want people to want to work for us, and that's why we do what we do.
If they don't, mate, you're going to have that culture, and you won't have 120 staff on, mate, will you? And all other companies hitting you up asking for people. So you're definitely ticking some boxes, mate. Future of the industry. What do you reckon? Are we going to be in this strife for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? How long are you going to be screaming for migrants to come over, you reckon?
Oh, the negative for me is I'm going to be looking at this guy in the video for a lot of years, because it's all right.
He kind of regrets he didn't do his hair now.
He's going to be bald. He's going to be bald and leaning in his coffin by the time we've got the demand met, because what you see when you drive around and all the Victorians moving to Queensland, and it's just house after house is needed. And and then, as I said, the next 10 years with the Olympics, there's so much money going around. The government just threw another $1.5 billion to improve the lifestyle for the Olympics, and there's another $1.5 billion that got thrown around for housing after the flood. Like, there's just a lot of that money, plus there's a lot of money from obviously businesses getting put into new builds as well. So the population growth curve is quite high, and we can't see it tapering off. So,
Peter, I'm not sure if you can answer this because it's not on my list of questions. But you get heaps of people from WA, like a lot of WA employers trying to take you guys from Queensland and offer them incentives. Have you heard? I know that's happening in Victoria a little bit. I've had quite a few employers hit me up saying, anyone in Victoria want to move to WA. Are you getting that too in Queensland, or because they're similar sort of cultures and weather temperatures and everything? You get it or not?
Oh, I think there is. People that don't do their homework probably think about moving to Western Australia. Yeah. It's a nice spot, but you're very, very much isolated. I can see why they want to be part of it, but hey, they've got some good resources in the ground there, quite a wealthy state. And the only negative is, and having grown up in Tassie, which is also remote, you're not really in that vibe of the east coast of Australia. It's sort of the east coast is where it's sort of happening. You can wake up Saturday morning and be in Sydney 50 minutes later, spend the weekend, in Sydney Harbour, and then be back to work. Yeah. And that vibe, and you only really realise that once you've moved to the east coast of Australia. Western Australia, I've spent quite a few holidays and different things there. It's got some nice beaches and stuff, but
it's beautiful, mate.
6 hours from anywhere, and costs just a lot of money to visit anywhere else in Australia. So it's definitely, though, there is a lot of mines that cause a lot of demand, but it's very much a roller coaster ride over there because of the mining is up and down, where the east coast of Australia is much more just a straight line curve up.
It just flows, doesn't it? I love WA. I like all of Australia, actually. I travelled it for just under 4 years, so got to live in lots of states. But I was saying to my wife, Melbourne and all that, we get that little bit of wind, so you can put a coat on, go out in the city, have a few beers out there, and then, go to footy, whatever. In WA, the nightlife sort of shuts down really early, but that's, quite good too. They like a Sunday session rather than a Saturday night, like us boys from Vic. So personally, Peter, what's your favourite part of the work that you do? In the industry that you're in, what's your favourite part?
Basically, it's seeing someone get a job for the first time, and I think that's going to expand a bit to see people relocate in Australia. Like, we're normally, giving someone their first chance or a job, but my grandparents all moved from Europe, and I know what that meant to them. I've got staff that have relocated. I've got friends that have relocated, and I think that will be, really, really good, and it gets me excited about being part of the journey. Just helping people make that leap. So, but we get a buzz about helping people. Yeah.
I tell you what, it's awesome. You don't get into this for the money. I could work for you, mate, or go be a plumber, but it's just wicked. The highs and lows off it. But I think what people forget as well with migrants, they've got their life settled. They're actually quite successful people from the country that they're coming from. They're not running from things. They've made a decision, because migration, English-speaking, skilled migrants, good health, no criminal convictions. They've got what lots of Aussies, obviously want to, have a beer, have their kids at the same schools and all that sort of stuff. It's really nice. It's a good sense of culture. But watching them have that transition, it's quite interesting, and it's something that I actually like to be a part of, because it's just what makes you that little word fulfillment, mate. It's just good when you first chat to them at an expo. Then you catch up with them over here. It's just awesome, mate. It's really good.
Yeah. And they need to toughen up a bit. My uncle got on a boat for 3 months on his own at the age of 16 to migrate to Australia. So he did it a bit tough. No job, waiting for him though, so.
Well, mate, I've always flown cattle class. So I've never had the pleasure of anything else. And with a bad back, mate, and I'm not super tall, but I like to sit, I get a little bit of leg room. And I think you sort of, with the flights, I always took it like a game of footy. You do it in quarters. You get to the airport, you get on the plane, that's quarter one. The next, the next plane is quarter two. Then you got the third, which is when you're in, when you get off the plane and you're waiting for the next plane. You go to Malaysia, whatever is a stopover. And then your last journey is the last quarter. Then when you get out, that smell of Melbourne, it's just every time I could just smell that, just that warmth. And when you're in Queensland, that hot tarmac, you just come out and your face is just it's hot, isn't it? It's just in the air, that heat, and you're home and it's welcoming. It's good. So, mate, the culture within your industry, okay? So with you guys, do you throw, as a business and everything like that, what can someone join you? I mean, obviously, you're laid back. Is it throughout the business, or how does it work?
We try and have, as I said, we're not out to screw anyone over to help others. And each team's a bit unique. Some are a bit more relaxed than others, depending on the manager or the makeup of the team. Some I think should stress a bit less, but basically, we've got pretty good culture and really want that work-life balance. If you want to do a bit of overtime, it's there, but we're not out to We think family's important. If someone needs to be helped out or whatever, we're there for them in whatever the situation is. So but it is what you make it. Yeah, you bring a smile, then someone will smile back at you. If you're a grump, then you might meet all the grumps in our organisation. But
it's the Aussie spirit, isn't it? It really is. It's how you are. We don't. I don't know. I find the Aussies, unless you watch what's that show, Maths, Married at First Sight, mate. Before I watched that, I thought Aussies weren't really confrontational. I'm not confrontational at all, and none of my mates really are, and no one's really picky and all of that. And then I watched Maths, and that changed my opinion. But on the work, out in the on the tradie or on site and all that, it's actually it's really good. And I love the Friday or the Thursday afternoon at the pub with a few mates, and I guess the banter, but it's because you're doing it in the warmer weather, sometimes tasks that aren't as hard unless it's too hot. But, you know, and I guess it's very new for these migrants too. So they're always willing to sort of put in their extra at the start, you know, hopefully continue to do that. But it's like any new job, you always want to do the best. And that they're going to be nervous. And I think that's what, you know, your people have to understand, and every other employer, like, this is a big deal and it's cost them lots of money, and managing the expectations. Like, you know, guys, you're not jumping off a plane, starting work. And, you know, as Peter said, you know, 3:07, you can knock off and you can go for a surf, fish, go for a walk and everything. That's, you know, that's fantastic. Still going to pay your taxes, still going to pay your bills. You're still going to be people that you're not going to get along with. You're still going to get rain. It's just not going to rain as much. If you're from where I am now in Victoria, I'm going to get a winter. Everyone keeps telling me. But it's not like the UK winter. Okay. But we're still going to get it.
Yeah, and if you're a tradie, there are some days where it's, you know, hotter than you would like, and there's, you know, like I was a tradie.
Do they stop it in Victoria on the union sites? They stop it when it gets to 35. Do they stop it in Queensland, or they wouldn't be able to work if it was 35?
There is limits depending on the type of weather, but we don't get a lot of that in the year. It's uncomfortable some days. Unworkable, probably rare, but there's a range of work. You probably go work inside on those days, or so it's
consistently warm. That's what you're getting.
It's a bit of give and take.
Not like Melbourne where it's up and down.
Yeah, and it's not as humid as further north. So yeah, but you're right. It's still life, and you still got grumpy kids in the morning, and you still got things to do and bills to pay. But it's not a bad place to do all that in.
Yeah, no, it's good, mate. I've enjoyed being back. It's had its challenges, and I do it quickly. But anyway, now, okay, last question, mate, and then we'll call it, because I'm sure you're quite busy, and thank you again for your time. But look, what are the plans of growth within the company in the next few years?
We've got some pretty big plans around our trades, and so our carpentry team, our goal for that is 90 staff. Bricklaying, we've had that goal set for us 50 staff. So basically all our trade teams locally here, we want to get them up to that level of dozens and dozens of people in each team. So what that does for us is provide, you know, a range of different skill levels, which is great for giving people opportunity. And then potentially our in-house operations will expand those down south as well a bit more. But we're just sort of building. We like to walk before we can run. We just want to do things well, make sure we get all the systems right. So that's our biggest goal, is to grow our internal operations. There's some plans to grow our labour hire if we can play a bigger part in that with immigration as well, to attract, you know, a range of different people. It doesn't have to be from the trade background, could be nurses, who knows? But yeah.
And with that, I know you've spoken about this before as well. So guys, if you are listening and you are a carpenter and everything like that, you know, Joy do have a division of other. So if your partner is looking for work or anything, you know, just contact the Down Under Centre and we can see how it goes. I guess, you know, our relationship with Joy, we've had for quite a while now, and it's, you know, and it's been good. And look, we understand migration. They understand the jobs, the employment. Together, you know, we hopefully can form a good team where you're getting, you know, skilled migrants coming over, representing your business. And I know the guys and all the duckers out there, they're like that. Honestly, Peter, they're just such good people, and they're really, Australia means the world to so many of them. And I vouch for them. I just really, yeah, they're just awesome. Like, it's good. And it's not everyone migrates, mate. Like, lots of people say they're going to migrate. And it takes a special person to migrate. Like my wife, you know, she's English. You know, are we going to go back at Christmas this year? You know, question, it comes at a cost, you know, like, can we do that with the kids, after schooling and everything? So there is a sacrifice that these people make. And hopefully between what you do and what we do, we can try and make life easier for them. So, guys, but look, thank you everybody for for listening to this. It's recorded on the 8th of the 4th, 2022, in case you're watching it in the future. Who would have known? You know, we had this meeting 3 years ago, mate. Would we have known about a pandemic and all of that, mate? We wouldn't. So who knows what's going to happen? But it was recorded on the 8th of the 4th. Peter, thank you so much for working with the Down Under Centre and for being the man you are. You work for a great organisation. No directors are making, the money. It's all going back into charity. You do everything with a smile, mate. And I think it's a great culture. And I'm, from the Down Under Centre and my staff, thank you for working with us and for choosing Down Under Centre clients as well as your priority to get over there. Anything you'd like to add, mate?
Pleasure. There is a range of opportunities, whether it's internal or with our labour hire. So, just talk to you, Down Under Centre, the experts. They can provide all the information. We just partner with them, really. They're doing a great service. So contact them, and that's the best way to contact us and get signed up. And we can help where we can.